I've been with my boyfriend since December 2023, and a couple months ago, he was diagnosed with autism. I'm not gonna lie, it got me thinking, because he experiences things differently. He's not the stereotypical perfect gentleman people imagine. Like, he doesn't like walking while holding things in his hands, so when we are at the store, I'm the one carrying the groceries. And he can't really hold my hand while we're walking either. From the outside, yes, that might look a little strange. And people do notice. Sometimes you get those little looks, like they're silently judging or assuming something is wrong. And for a while, that actually got into my head. I started wondering if our relationship looked less loving just because it didn't look like everyone else's. And if I'm being honest, when we first met, he wasn't what I imagined as my dream boyfriend. Not because there was anything wrong with him, but because I had this idea in my head of how a boyfriend is supposed to act, and that idea was the problem. It was unrealistic. But here's the thing. He still treats me better than most people ever would. He still makes me feel like a princess. He just shows it in a different way. He's not super lovey-dovey in front of people, especially if they're single, because he doesn't want to make them uncomfortable. And something I don't think people talk about enough, especially as a girl, he doesn't do everything for me. Like, he'll make me call the bank, or order food, even when he knows I get super anxious about it. I'll admit, sometimes it's hella frustrating. Part of me is like, oh, why can't you just do it for me? But then I realized he's not doing it because he doesn't care. He's doing it because he does care. Instead of keeping me comfortable, he's helping me grow. And I think a lot of people confuse being taken care of with being made dependent. Today's gameplay is actually my boyfriend playing. That's why it's so different. My computer broke, so he sent me like an hour of gameplay. I think social media romanticizes the idea of someone doing everything for you, but real life isn't about being rescued. It's about being supported while you grow. And sometimes growth is uncomfortable. Sometimes it means doing things you're scared of, while someone stands beside you instead of doing it for you. He helped me gain weight during my eating disorder. He got me working out, which I still do, and I love it. I'm very conflict avoidant, so when I had to quit my job a couple years ago, he pushed me. I was scared my boss would be mad at me, which she was. She was a bad boss, but we'll get back to that another time. He taught me how to work on myself. He helped me get through my depression. He taught me to love myself on a completely different level. Real love doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. And that made me realize something. Most people don't want a relationship. They want someone who acts exactly how they expect. But real relationships doesn't work like that. A relationship is like a rough diamond. You have to adapt, listen, and take the other person's needs into consideration. Then you start to see a healthy relationship form. But even then, you have to keep working. It's give and take. Sacrifices must be made. But it's also extremely rewarding if both of you put in the work. My boyfriend is very sensitive to touch, so he only likes to be touched on his own terms. If I walk up to him from behind and hug him, that can freak him out. He doesn't like that. But that's far from a sign that he doesn't like me. Everything isn't like in the movies or on social media anyway. And I think that's why a lot of young adults are struggling to stay in relationships nowadays. The second something feels different, it's very easy to leave instead of trying to understand the other person. We don't talk enough about how relationships are actually supposed to feel. They're not always smooth. They're not always aesthetic. Sometimes they're awkward, sometimes they're misunderstood, and sometimes they don't make sense to anyone except the people in them. But that doesn't make them unhealthy. Sometimes that's exactly what makes them real. Real love isn't about finding someone who fits your expectations. It's about building something together that doesn't need to fit anyone else's. It took me a while to understand that different doesn't mean bad. It just means different. If you can't adapt to someone, you don't want a relationship. You want control. And that's never going to lead to something real. If you'd like me to talk more about this or any other topic I've already covered, then please let me know in the comments down below.